Hello, hello. My name is Elari Onawa. I am a life on purpose coach. I've been doing that since 2003. And I'm also author of Just Believe How Faith in Yourself Shifts Everything. It's available on Amazon. It's been out for a few years now. I originally created that as a powerful tool for my coaching clients and later put it out on Amazon and use it actually in some of the other courses that I do. And I get emails from people every day. And a lot of people have said, hey, this is really a resource that I come back to time and time again, which is great because that was the idea when I created it. It is one of those resources that is meant to be used as a resource again and again. So this week, I'm going to talk about clarity inside relationships, and we'll be using an excerpt from chapter 4 of the book, which is called Truth and Stories. So let me just read something quickly, and then we're going to talk about creating clarity inside your relationships, whether they are your romantic partnerships with a spouse, again, a romantic partnership, or whether it is with your work relationships. So, here we go. If we truly want to relate to others, rather than our stories about them, we have to see through a clear lens. We do this by distinguishing story from truth. Here's how. Let's say someone does something that's upsetting to you. Ask yourself, what did I make this mean? How am I seeing this person or situation? I emphasize your because we often like to think that someone else is responsible for our upset. This, however, is never the case. The source of the distress comes from how we're assessing the other person, the situation, or their behavior. The source is the meaning that we apply, which is 100% within our control. We give up control over our emotional well-being if we blame another for how we feel. Our emotions are actually the result of the way in which we interpret the events in our lives. It is done unto each of us according to our own stories, beliefs, and truths. So, how do you see through a clear lens? We have to see through a clear lens by understanding that the source of our emotions isn't about the other person, it's about the path that we are on. It's about how we're seeing life. So if we have cultivated a story about or a habit of looking for what's wrong in our lives or what's not working, guess what? We're going to project that onto not only events and situations, but we're also going to project that onto the other people in our lives. We're going to be focused on what's not working, and we're going to see what's not working inside the relationship or what's not working with that other person. But it's not the person or the event, it is how we're seeing life. It's the lens through which we're looking. The same is true if we are focusing on what we love and appreciate. If we feel blessed, we're going to feel and attract more blessings. If we feel loved and cultivate the feeling of being loved, we're going to attract feeling more love. We're going to attract love. Here's another way of seeing it. It's a quote from Eric Butterworth that I opened the chapter with. Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. You see things not as they are, but as you are. And this is so powerful to get. It's actually what gives you a lot of freedom to be fully expressed inside a relationship. Think about it. Have you ever adopted your behavior or adapted your behavior because of somebody else's reaction? So, or maybe you were quieter because of somebody's reaction, or maybe you didn't express yourself in an outgoing way as you normally would because you didn't want to make somebody feel bad. Well, all of those things are taking responsibility for how somebody else feels, and it never works because if we adapt who we're being based on how somebody else feels, then what actually happens is we start feeling trapped inside that relationship, and ultimately it can't work because we're not allowing ourselves the freedom to be who we truly are. We're adapting our behavior based on somebody else's reaction. So we're actually training ourselves out of what feels good to us. We're training ourselves out of our own higher guidance system. So it's really important to see that distinction. We could have a whole program about nothing but creating clarity inside your relationships. But the first and most fundamental principle that gives you great freedom, that gives you the ability to be fully self-expressed, is understanding that how we do life is what we receive. So it's the lens through which we see the world. If we see things with love and appreciation, we attract more to love and appreciate. If we see things as they are, in other words, if somebody is having an emotional response, we have to remember that that emotional response is not about us. It's about their perception. And when we really get this, we can remain calm and steady inside a relationship. If you've ever seen a situation or witnessed a situation or been part of a situation where you felt triggered by somebody else's reaction, then you understand that having two people, bumping up against each other and making each other wrong, that doesn't work. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't resolve anything. And ultimately, if that pattern is reproduced over and over again, it deteriorates the quality of a relationship because you're not actually relating to the person, you're relating to your stories about them. So having a clear lens and understanding that what we feel is a direct result of not what the other person says, but how we interpret what that person says. Their interpretation is their feelings have to do with their interpretation of the events. And when we can be in that higher space, when we can show up as our awesome self, when we can take these skills into the world, we become people of positive influence and we make a positive difference. And we can start in the relationships that we have at work and at home. So I'm giving you a very powerful exercise to do this week. As you go about your week and as you're interacting with others, just notice, see if you can notice first within yourself how you're showing up. See if you can see the lens through which you're interacting, and is that lens, is that pretty consistent from one person to the next, from one situation to the next? Or does it vary according to who you're interacting with? Because this will reflect back to you what you are in the process of creating. You will see a lot. So that's it for now. I'd like to say thank you so much for tuning in, for checking in, and for committing to being a person of positive influence, to being the best version of yourself. Because when we do that one person at a time, when we show up from the higher aspects of ourselves, well, life just keeps getting better and better and better. And we also contribute to those around us as well. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.